have tuned into Nocturnal Frequency Radio, and we're here tonight, with Brian Harnois from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International. We'll be starting in a few minutes here once we get things going. If you have a call for Brian, you can call us at 803-4095, and we'll get that question out there for you, or ask us in the chat room. In the chat room, you can find us Blog Talk. Type in Nocturnal Frequency Radio or Nocturnal Frequency, or it's blogtalkradio.com/nocturnal_frequency. Join us in the chat room. Again, you need to be a registered member at Blog Talk, which is free, to fully interact in the chat. We're going to play a short tune here, and then when we finish, we'll be here with Brian. So hang tight. Hello, and welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Tonight we have Mr. Brian Harnois from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International. And once again, if you'd like to call in with a question, you can do so at 914-803-4095, or join us in the chat room. And if you're not registered, register. It's free, and you can fully interact with everybody in there and get a question in that way. With no further ado, let's bring Brian in. Hello, Brian. How are you tonight?
No, not to yourself.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks a lot for joining us.
No, not my pleasure. Not a problem.
It's an honor.
No, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Listen, everybody knows about you and Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International, but why don't we start with before all that went down? Like, what were you doing before the show? Like, you were a part of TAPS, right?
Oh, yes. I was part of TAPS since 1999. So I was with TAPS for about 9 years.
So how did you connect with the guys in TAPS?
Well, I was an investigator myself before that. And what happened was I was looking for a group to join, just to broaden my experiences and stuff, and try to get on real cases. All I was really doing was going into cemeteries and stuff like that. And I Googled, or I don't know if even Google was around back then, but I went on one of the search engines and typed in Rhode Island and paranormal, and the TAPS website came up. So I emailed Jason, and he called me, and the rest is history.
So now, being in the group 9 years, 9 years before the show?
Well, no, 9 years altogether.
Oh, 9 years altogether. Okay. Now, how did they approach you with the show?
Well, they did an article on us in 2002 in the New York Times, right around Halloween, about us being very skeptical paranormal investigators and how we run our investigations. And I guess a literary agent got a hold of Jason Grant, and then a production company got a hold of him, and then they started talking about doing a demo and a concept, writing the concept and doing all that stuff. And then there were a few television companies fighting for us for the show itself, and that was it. It took about 2 years for the show to develop, from 2002 to 2004. But then they wrote the concept, and we did the demo, and then we didn't have to shoot a pilot or anything. We went right to series after the demo. And in June of 2004, we were filming. So
now, how did that change you? Obviously, besides being in front of the camera, but in terms of doing that everyday investigation sort of thing, like obviously things changed.
Oh yeah, definitely things changed a lot. I stopped going on a lot of the home cases because there was just no time to do those. Investigating changed. We did a lot of the investigation itself changed because of the cameras being there. You couldn't do what you wanted to do in front of the cameras because they didn't think it was good TV. So you couldn't sit there in a room for about 5 hours like we usually do and just hang around and wait for something to happen. They always had us going around, moving to different rooms, moving to different areas of the house or the building or the area we were in. And, it just changed a lot. I mean, obviously, getting to go to conventions and do lectures now and stuff like that, it's a whole, bigger, better world in the paranormal now. but it just, it helped us in, in so many ways. And of course, sometimes it hurts you too with the criticism you get. But it just, it was fun doing it for 4 years.
So where, like when you were with Ghost Hunters, obviously, where was your favorite spot that you guys got to investigate?
It was a couple. I mean, you had like, Waverly Hills and Eastern State Penitentiary. Going to the lighthouse, a couple of lighthouses that we did, it was pretty cool because we never really got to do an investigation at a lighthouse. Obviously when I was with Ghost Hunters International, going overseas and stuff like that, but when I was with Ghost Hunters, I have to say stuff for places like, St. Augustine Lighthouse with the activity that happened there, Waverly Hills, just being how big and how, the haunted history of it is, Eastern State Penitentiary where Al Capone was. There were a lot of places like going to Tombstone, Arizona, and investigating the Birdcage Theater, where, Doc Holliday and all them used to hang out.
Yeah.
Places like that. Those are the fun places to go to. And we really didn't do a lot of client houses like we had done before the show. We would do one or two here and there. They wanted to keep that personal aspect in the show still. But we did a lot of big places. And that was opportunities that I don't think we would have been able to get if we were just doing ghost hunting, just with, without this TV show being there. It would have cost us a lot of money, and it would have, been a big hassle trying to get into those places. So it was a great opportunity for us to go in there and investigate the way we want to.
Now going back to Waverly, you guys did it a couple times, but the one time, obviously, when there was the little bit of activity on the thermal, and what seemed to be like let's say a real short shadow person or something. Like, what did you make out of that?
And see, I really don't know, because the thermal imaging camera is very, very, very funny to actually run. I really don't know if you can catch paranormal activity with thermal.
Yeah.
I just graduated from Firefighting Academy back in December, and I saw a few things when I was working with that thermal camera. And it's not a FLIR. It's a little bit different thermal camera, but it's still the same results. When we had a controlled fire that we were actually in, and we had to bring the thermal camera in when it was still very smoky. And I noticed when you turn the thermal camera on and smoke that you can't even see in front of your face, the thermal camera wouldn't even see the smoke. It would still see the walls and the furniture and everything else. It would penetrate right through the smoke. So it started me thinking, like, how could we see an image on a thermal camera of a spectral, like an anomaly like that, when the apparition is a lot lighter? Like the smoke itself is so thick that you can't even see through it, but the thermal camera can see through it perfectly and not even detect the smoke. Then how can you, see something like that? And like that person, when that little thing in Waverly Hills running by, we don't know what that was, because first it was pitch black in there. Nobody could really see. I wasn't there when they were actually witnessing it, and I was, on the 5th floor or something with Steve. And, there's a lot of animals in there. All the windows are all busted out of that place. I don't know about now. I know they're renovating it now. I haven't been there in a couple of years. But, there's a lot of animals I can go through there. And I don't know. I have my doubts about the thermal, because you have to have, to create heat or cold, you have to have, to generate it on a thermal camera, you have to have matter, some kind of mass. And I don't think spirits give off any kind of mass. If they do, it's very faintly. And to see that like that, to see that image of almost like a half person, I don't know what that was, but it was first I was too far away to actually depict what it was. And second, it could be paranormal, don't get me wrong. I don't know all the ins and outs of how the ghosts actually work and how they actually, emit their own heat and cold, sources. But I just don't know. I don't know exactly what that was, and I probably never will.
So when you guys first approached Waverly, were you guys overwhelmed at the size of it in terms of getting things set up technically for the investigation?
Yeah. We were. It was a big place. That's why we were there for 3 days. investigating, and we moved the cameras around every day because we couldn't cover the whole area. We actually had to throw cables off the side of the roof down to the command central. We couldn't run the cables down the stairs because it would be too long. We would have run out of cables. It was a hassle sometimes trying to cover places like that, especially when we did the USS Lexington, the aircraft carrier in Corpus Christi. That place was too big for any kind of camera coverage other than, the little small radius around the command central. And it's a place like that you have to rely more on your hand tools and more of an old school situation that we like to call it. We used to call it old school situation before the DVR, and just rely on your senses and your handheld equipment because there's just way too much ground to cover for such for the cable and stuff like that.
You're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, and tonight we have Brian Harnois from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International with us. If you have a question you'd like to ask Brian, you can call us at 914-803-4095. Now, how are you with pretty much your life being displayed on the show? Were you comfortable with that?
No, not really. I wasn't comfortable with a lot of things that happened when I was filming Ghost Hunters, especially, the way my life was portrayed and the way I was portrayed. And, it builds you up a certain kind of reputation that you don't want to have. And it seems like I'm still breaking down that wall whenever I go to conferences and go to lectures. I get a lot of people that will write me letters. I'll see them on bulletins and all forums and stuff where people will be like, well, I expected one thing and I got told different. I expected some arrogant fool and I got a, very down-to-earth person. And I appreciate it. People actually see me for who I am. I have my whole life portrayed on the show was a bit much. That's why when you notice on GHI there was no drama, backstory kind of stuff. I definitely told them when I pitched the show to them that I didn't want any kind of family life kind of stuff in the show, and they kept that out of there, thank God. But I didn't have any overseeing of the editing and stuff for GH, and I wasn't in charge, obviously. And they put in whatever they wanted to, and I'm not gonna say I didn't do some stuff that I should have done way off camera, but they shouldn't have done a lot of things that they did themselves. So I'm still trying to live down that reputation, and I'm getting I'm getting closer and closer every day. Every time I go to a lecture and meet different people, they see how I am, and sooner or later it'll be all washed away, and I won't have anything to worry about anymore.
We have a question in the chat room. Somebody would like to know. How did you get the nickname Wheezy?
Wheezy, yes. That's a pretty funny story. It was in 2005, and we were in Canandaigua, New York, and we were filming a couple episodes up there at Valentine Museum, and a couple of the home cases that we did. And I had the flu, and I smoke. And I decided, my nicotine fit was getting pretty bad, and I decided to go outside and have a cigarette. Well, I took 2 drags, and I kind of almost passed out from hacking, coughing, and wheezing. And Steve saw me, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna, instead of calling you, so they used to call me Harnois instead of Harnois. For some reason, Jason decided to put the O in there instead of the A. I don't know if he thought that's how you spelled it. I have no clue. But they called me Harnois. He said, instead of Harnois, we're going to call you Hornweezy. And, I've asked my email address, like I put on my MySpace, it's Hornweezy. That's why I decided to put that up there. And then they just dropped the H-O-R-N, and they said I called me Wheezy. And they tried to hide it for a while in production. Everybody called me Wheezy. Jason and Grant didn't. Well, Grant did a little bit, but Jason never called me Wheezy. But, Steve, Tango, Dustin, all of them, they called me Wheezy. And they tried to hide it in editing because they didn't want to have to explain why they called me Wheezy. They couldn't just start calling me Wheezy and not explain it. And that's the way, production goes. So they tried to hide it for a while, but everybody was saying it so much on the episodes that they couldn't cut around it, so that I finally had to, in St. Augustine, in the old county jail, they had to actually put Steve on camera explaining what the Wheezy meant. And that was it. I've been Wheezy since.
Now, since you're with GHI now, have you been in contact with Jason and Grant at all, or?
Well, actually, I'm not with GHI anymore.
Oh, you're not?
I retired from them. No, I quit that in April. Yeah, I retired from Ghost Hunters, the series there. Not from Ghost Hunting, but I retired. I actually did retire for a couple of months from Ghost Hunting, but that's that's a whole different situation. But yeah, I don't talk to them. I talk to. Well, I saw Jason in Best Buy. One of the Best Buy store about 4 months ago. But before that, I hadn't talked to him since I left TAPS back in December of 2006. We don't talk much, so.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it at that.
Okay. We have another question from the chat room. How close How close do you work with the crew in production, and does that impede with the investigation?
Well, impeding it, we had some problems. We know the crew very well. I think the crew's with us, if we're filming a show for 9 months out of the year, they're with us the whole time. We travel with them, we hang out with them, stay at the same hotels, stuff. And we work with them, obviously. Impeding the investigation, not in the fact of they want to help us investigate. They're very professional in what they do. The problem is, we had a situation once. This was back going into the first Halloween special we had in Savannah, Georgia. It was my comeback, my reappearance on Ghost Hunters after the second season fiasco. We were having a cold spot up in the Moon River Brewery, and we were on the second or third floor for the floor we were on, and it was like 900 degrees up there. It was the middle of September in Savannah, Georgia. So it was like 110 degrees up in these upper floors that were abandoned. And we were getting a definite cold spot, like putting our hands through like a refrigerator. And me and Steve were up there investigating, and all of a sudden it was gone. We couldn't figure out why it would vanish like that. We turned around, and every single person in production was up there watching us. And me and Steve flipped out because we were like, look, you want us to catch ghosts, you want us to find evidence of paranormal activity, you guys can't all come running up here and checking this stuff out while it's happening. You can't do that. You can't have 18 people in a room when you're investigating, because nothing's going to come out. Nothing's going to come out and want to show itself. So that was like one of the little things that happened, that we got the okay to actually just have like 1 or 2 camera guys in the room. Usually one, because there's only 2 people there. 2 people investigating sometimes. The sound guy, which is outside the room, he's out because all the mics are wireless, so he can tune in from right down the hall. And usually you'll have a production person going through, like a producer or a co-producer. Somebody that just takes notes about what's going on as we're investigating, but he'll be outside the room too. So basically, when you see us in the room, it'll be just us 2 and a camera guy. And that was one of the rules that we stated, because we want to make sure that these people can't come running up here and impede us or actually contaminate the area. The only other thing that we always had to worry about was wireless audio, especially on GHI. Some of the places we went to were extremely huge. Chilean Castle, the Woodchester Mansion, just really big places. And we had the wireless audio there, and a lot of times I'm the one that, especially on GHI, and I do that in Ghost Hunters most of the time, I would review the wireless audio because I love doing EVP work. And a lot of times, some of the EVPs that I would get, they wouldn't be EVPs, they'd be somebody talking, and I'd have to throw them out because they'd most likely be part of the crew, because you leave a certain, the wireless audio in a certain area, and you go off somewhere else. You don't know if like a production assistant or a sound man or a cameraman comes walking by and he's talking, or he coughs, or he says something next to the mic, because the mic's usually always hidden, and it's pitch black too, so you really can't see the mic. And it's hard to detect if it's actually paranormal activity or a production guy, because, you know, they're always running back and forth out of the area to go get batteries, go get, you know, more lighting stuff, we'll get different stuff for their cameras. So it was hard that way. But, you know, them impeding us like that wasn't bad. They never did anything to where we would have to stop investigating because something happening with them. They were very cool and professional about stuff like that.
Now, I'm sure you've heard this a million times over and over and over again. And you know, since working on, you know, in a couple TV shows, people are always going to say, "You guys are faking evidence. You guys are doing this. You guys are doing that." Like, what do you think about that? I mean, obviously there are certain aspects of a show that people do not see because they're in between the edits.
Of course.
You know.
Well, faking evidence, I know I never did. I know I've never faked anything, you know, because that would just harm my reputation more than it needs to. You know, especially when, you know, like I always said, when I'm done with these shows, I'm still going to be a ghost hunter. And if I'm found faking evidence for a TV show, then my reputation is shot in the field. Nobody's ever going to believe a word I say. So that's something I would never do. You know, you don't see a lot of the show, obviously. You don't see a lot of, well, you see a lot of the show, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we do on the show, because you have to cram 40 minutes of, you know, investigating, reveal, evidence, analysis, and all that stuff. You know, you have to cram all that stuff into a 42-minute episode, not including commercials. So you only see the investigation for about 30 minutes of, you know, 1, 2, 3 days of investigating, which is like 8 to 10 hours a day. So it's hard for you to sometimes when people understand that, you know, why didn't we use a camera? Why didn't we use a certain EMF detector? Why didn't we use the air ion counter? Well, we did. It's just the scenes where we used those were never aired because there wasn't pertinent stuff toward the storyline or the evidence itself to warrant putting that on TV. And people always like, well, then how'd you catch this? How'd you catch that? You should know I catch this. It doesn't, especially with GHI, you know, everybody's like, oh, you're always catching evidence every single episode. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, it's kind of obvious why, because it's not like we're faking anything. We're going to citadels and castles and huge mansions and places that are reportedly and historically haunted. It's not like we're going to, you know, Joe Schmo's house in East Mississippi, you know, England somewhere. You know, it's like over here. It's a lot easier to say that, you know, like when on Ghost Hunters, you know, we would find evidence a couple of times, yeah, because we went to people's houses. You know, we find evidence every time on GHI because we're going to the places that are always haunted. And, you know, the places that have been historically documented as being haunted. So, if, you know, we catch a couple of EVPs, it's obvious because we're going to Chillingham Castle, we're going to, you know, the Screaming Woods, we're going to, you know, Larnach Castle in New Zealand, places where that has been written in history, that the place has been, you know, haunted and people have seen ghosts. And that's why it used to always strike me as funny when people would say, oh, what you're always finding, you're always seeing things. Brian, you're always seeing shadows moving around. I'm like, yeah, because I'm going to haunted houses. Like, it's not like I'm going into my bedroom and saying, oh, I see something. Or going into my bathroom and saying, oh, I see something. I'm going to haunted houses. It's like, I got crap for that whole ragged school thing where I saw a black shadow walk behind me. It's a haunted place. It's haunted. You know, when GHI was created, when we pitched the show, they wanted to go to places the first season or so where they could capture evidence of the paranormal because they didn't want to pay us to go overseas and catch nothing. So they were gonna pay the money to go to these certain places that they knew they'd be able to catch some kind of activity that would, because they were severely haunted. So, you know, I've never had to fake anything, and I hope nobody else has ever faked anything, because that just sets back the field like 20 years if you do that stuff. And, you know, even, you know, the way I looked at it, and I told Rob and Andy and all these guys when we first started the show, I'm like, you know, no faking things. No trying to, sit there and say you feel something when you don't. I don't want to see that either. Even if we don't see nothing, we debunk everything. It's a place, we've gone to a place where people are going to like to see it on the show. People are going to like to see the location. And we debunked it. So don't even worry about trying to create a situation where you feel a presence, or you say you feel something, or you want to do something a little different. You can't do that because the show only lasts for so long, and after the show's done, you're still a ghost hunter. And if you're sitting there doing all these ridiculous things, nobody's going to believe you when you come out. If you do, you on the lecture circuit and stuff like I'm doing now, nobody's going to believe you. And that's not good for you, for your reputation and the field reputation. So.
Now we have another question from the chat room. Hi, Brian. It's Brooke. My question.
Hey. Okay.
Her question is: do you believe certain people attract more paranormal activity around them than others?
Well, first off, hi, Brooke. Yes and no. I've seen a lot of people that are very open to the paranormal that witness nothing. They want to see something so bad. Like, as a matter of fact, I was at the Shanley Hotel in November in Nacogdoches, New York. In fact, I'm going back there on the 3rd and 4th of April, but I'll get into that later. We had this one guy there. I think his name was Jerry. He was so open to the paranormal. He wanted to see something so badly. And everybody else was witnessing stuff. And we were getting EVP after EVP. We were getting footsteps and scratching and moaning and all this other wonderful stuff going on, shadows moving by us. And there was about 20 people there for both nights. And he was the only one until almost the very end of the last night that he didn't catch anything. He didn't witness anything, didn't feel anything. And, of course, there are certain people that, they're open to it to an extent, too much, where they're getting things following them home and stuff. I don't believe that certain people are more attracted to the ghosts, or the ghosts are more attracted to people, or they find more paranormal activity. I think it's the luck of the draw. Really, I think it's certain situations you have to be in, certain situations, or certain places you are in. I've been on 600 investigations, and I say about 80% of those I didn't witness anything, and that's just the way it is. It's the luck of the draw. And I'm very open to stuff, I'm not gonna say I'm a psychic or a sensitive or anything like that, but I'm very open to the situation of paranormal. And I still strike out 80% of the time. And this is the only occupation other than being a weatherman that you strike out 80% of the time, and people still believe you, which is kind of cool. I don't believe that you, if you're more open to it, you're more susceptible to spirits. I think it's the certain situations you're in. It's certain luck of the draw. But if you are like a psychic and stuff like that, yeah, obviously you experience more because you've opened up yourself to a new realm. You've opened yourself up to that realm, and they'll talk your ear off, like I've heard from certain psychics, and obviously like that. But just being a paranormal investigator, I don't think so. I don't think if you're more open to it, you're going to see more. I think it's just luck.
You have the chat room all fired up, Brian. We got another question.
What do I have?
Another question for you.
Okay, during the chat room all fired up.
Yeah, during an EVP session, how long do you stay in an area before you move on to a new area?
Well, see, that all depends on what you're doing. I see back when I was before the show started, and even now after the show's done, I can sit in the room for 4, 5, 6 hours. And if I know it's a hot room, it's a hot spot where a lot of activity happens, I'll sit in the room 4, 5, 6 hours and do EVP sessions. I don't care if I don't go to the other parts of the house. If this is where a lot of the activity is happening, I want to sit down and concentrate on that area. But when you're on a TV show, they don't like that. The producers don't like that. They call that dead air. It's too boring for them. They want us to keep moving. So basically every half hour to 45 minutes, we'd have to move from place to place. And it all depends on the situation, too. Like, we went up to Maine, back a few years ago, and it was 60 below zero up there. We were investigating. We had to do an outside, part inside, part outside investigation. So obviously when you're outside and you're doing EVP work, you're not going to sit out there for 3 or 4 hours. 60 below, you'll be out there for half an hour and go, okay, I'm done. I'm going back inside. But I say roughly, a usual investigation, I'll sit in the room for a couple hours, and then I'll take a break, go have a cigarette, go hang out, and then I'll go back in there, maybe to a different room. Or if I was catching some stuff, I'll stay in the room, obviously. But if it dies down, like say if I'm catching something, and it dies down, and it's been dead for about, no pun intended, it was dead for about a half hour or so, I'll leave the room. I may go back, but I'll leave the room and go somewhere else. But it all depends on the situation. You have to look at the situation at hand first, especially if you're dealing with an inhuman. The best bet is not to stay in a certain room so long, because these things start to play with your mind, and you want to keep moving from place to place, because they like to move and they like to mess with you, and you can't. Just staying in a certain room is not good if you're dealing with an inhuman, because they will mess with you really badly. So yeah, that's about it. I'd say me, it's about 2.5 hours. I'll stay in a room.
Now, while I'm doing my audio work, I like using what's called the Zoom H2 when it first came out, actually.
What is it?
It's called the Zoom H2, and it records in 360 audio
Okay.
on 4 separate tracks. So
oh, really? I never checked that out. I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool instrument. I love it. What type of recorder? Do you have a preference with what type of recorder, or what kind of stuff that you
actually
like?
Well, first off, you're gonna send me an email with that information about that. I'd like to check
for
that
sure.
out.
No problem.
Second off, that sounded really weird. I like analog. I like tape recorders.
Yeah.
Digital recorders. I like digital recorders. Don't get me wrong. They do the job. But I have a person that's my mentor, Keith Johnson. I don't know if you know Keith.
Yeah.
He trained me when I joined CAPS, and he's been my mentor ever since. I've known him for now 9 years. Oh, more than that, God. Yeah, almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years this year. And he has an analog recorder, a tape recorder that he calls Old Faithful. It's a 1980 tape recorder. It's a big, bulky little thing. And we had a test one day. I put one of the $200 and some odd tape recorders, digital recorders that we had gotten for ghost hunters, next to his Old Faithful, and we both hit record. And he got all the EVPs, I got none. And they were sitting right on the side of each other. And they were Class A EVPs. There were actually people talking to us when we were doing our EVP session. And I don't understand why that happens. Maybe because of vibrations. I know these things don't have vocal cords, so they might have to vibrate the ear to talk. And I know a lot of analog recorders, they'll have the tapes themselves have metallic fibers in them that will hold the vibrations. And that's how it's easier to record on tapes than it is, for them to record on digital, I think. But you can record with anything. I mean, I can go into a whole discussion about, technical side of the paranormal, and, these people buying $400 or $500 tape recorders. And it's like, literally, you can go to the flea market and get a $10 analog recorder and, use that. So it's like, I like tape recorders. I've used them for a long time. I'll use the digital ones if I have to, but if I have a preference, if I have a choice, I'll use the tape recorder. It's a lot of record. It's a lot of problems when you're trying to put it on the computer. You have to record it on the computer in real time instead of like with the digital, it just downloads instantly. But I prefer those.
Yeah, I like analog as well. I mean, you basically have something to back up your evidence if you have
definitely
something solid. Even though with digital, well, you do have something, but it's not it's not tangible to us really. You can't see it and you can't feel it. Where a tape, you can see it and feel it. I like tape as well, but unfortunately, I picked up a Marantz, and the bloody thing conked on me, I think, the first time I took it out.
Oh, jeez.
You know. So when you started with GHI and you did all the locations over in Europe, was there a particular place out there that you liked, or was there many? I'm sure there was like tons out there. I mean, the old world.
Well, yeah. We didn't get to pick the cases out there. We approved them basically for the fact that, I'll tell you a little story. We were going to Romania in mid-December, and they wanted us to go do Vlad's Castle, Vlad the Impaler, which I'm a big fan of. Not a fan of, I shouldn't say a fan of. That's a little weird. But I am, I know I've done a lot of historical research on Vlad the Impaler, the original Dracul, the original Dracula, and he was part of the Dracul society. And Vlad's Castle is a ruin, and you have to go up. I don't know how many stairs, but there's a stairwell that leads up to Vlad's Castle, and it's just a ruin. You're in the middle of the woods. You have to trek through the middle of the woods, go up a whole bunch of, dilapidated stairs, and then go investigate a ruin. So first off, it's the middle of December in Romania. It's cold. It's snowing. And we all put our foot down and said, no, we're not going to do this, because why can't we do that in March or April or May when it's nicer out and we're not all sitting there miserable, sitting our butts off, trying to investigate the paranormal, because it's not fun. So we ended up doing something else. We ended up doing Citadel Raznov, but that was a whole big fiasco trying to get there. But we didn't get to pick most of the places we went to. I was very happy to do Chillingham. Didn't find much, though. I was very depressed about that. I was very upset about that. I just heard so much stuff about Chillingham and read so much stuff about it. Saw it on TV, Scariest Places on Earth, all that good stuff. And we just didn't find much. I didn't understand it. It was, no pun intended, it was dead. I don't know if the ghost didn't want to come out and play or what it was. We caught a couple of things here and there, but it was just unfortunate. But yeah, most of the places I went to, Citadel Orava in Slovakia was great. A couple of places we did in New Zealand was good. Places we did the English Castle we did in Ireland was pretty fun to do. We've caught pretty much a lot of evidence to do with the paranormal over there. But I gotta say, the best place I investigated over there was Castle Orava, Citadel Orava in Slovakia, just for the activity alone. But I can't really pick. If I had to pick one, I'd say that one. But I had fun at all of them.
Yeah, it would be such a great opportunity, obviously, to check out some of these places over there. The history.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sure, over here in North America, and especially in the U.S., the history there and a lot of the locations. But we're talking about Europe and the age comparison. And some of these places, like over, half a century, 500 years old or so. It's crazy.
More than that, Chillingham Castle is like 1,000 years old. More than that, I know the Lunt Mansion we did when I was with Taps when we went over to Ireland. That was from 800 AD. So the places over there were ridiculous.
You're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, and tonight we have Mr. Brian Harnois from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International. If you'd like to call in with a question, you can call us at 914-803-4095 or ask it in the chat room. Guests, if you'd like to fully interact in the chat, register for a free account. And I'm understanding some people are having problems with the audio. I know there's some problems going on with Blog Talk, but if you go to the actual show page, which is blogtalkradio.com/nocturnal_frequency, press the play button on the player there, and if you want to come into the chat, just click the chat, start chat, and that should work out fine. Now, out of all the locations you've been to, and we're talking over 600, like you said, has there been a location where you were just completely, absolutely terrified?
Terrified, not the location itself, the situation I was in. I've been to a couple exorcisms, which kind of terrified me, considering, not only dealing with the paranormal, you're also dealing with a live person that can attack you. You know, Eastern State Penitentiary was pretty scary. We had back then, in 2004, they hadn't really renovated a lot of the place yet, and we had full run of the place. So, you know, going past some of these cell doors and some of the areas that we're in, it was very creepy and dark, and I'm a big horror fanatic, so your mind starts wandering, and you walk past these cell doors, and it's pitch black in there because these prisoners didn't have windows or anything to look out, and you know, you just think that something evil is going to grab you and suck you into the cell door, never to be seen again. So terrified? No, I can't say I've been terrified anywhere. Location-wise, but Eastern State is up there. But other than that, no, I can't say I was even terrified somewhere. I had to do a whole dude run incident over there, but other than that, no, nothing like that.
Now, you mentioned you're a horror fan.
Yes.
Is there a particular film that you really, really enjoy?
Well, I have some. I'm a big old school horror fan.
Yeah.
I like, the whole Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. I'm a big Michael Myers fan. I like the Halloween saga. The original ones, not, like the newer ones they did were, I even like H2O. When he returned to terrorize Jamie Lee Curtis again. The Prophecy, I like that a lot. I don't know. The original Fog, I like.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like a lot of the remakes that they're doing right now. We were going to go see Friday the 13th on Friday for a movie, but we decided to go see Slumdog Millionaire. We decided not to see Friday the 13th, which I'm glad I didn't, because Slumdog Millionaire was one heck of a movie. I really enjoyed that movie. Me and Michelle went to go see that, but I gotta say I'm a fan of a lot of horror, but there has been some movies out there that I own, and I'm not too happy that I do.
Yeah.
But I like the zombies. I think George Romero is a genius. Creating the zombie, the American, the new version of zombies. His new movie that came out, Diary of the Dead, was very, very good.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
He brought back that whole aspect of the genre with that. I like all kinds of horror, but I gotta say my favorite is zombies. I love the whole zombie aspect of somebody coming back from the dead and wanting to eat your brain. I think that's really creepy and cool at the same time. So.
Well, since you're a zombie fan, then keep your eyes open for a movie called Autumn.
What is it?
It's called Autumn, and it stars
Autumn.
it stars Dexter Fletcher from Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
Yeah, and David Carradine.
And very. I heard David Carradine was doing a horror movie. So. Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's hopefully we're looking to have it released in October, but of course that all goes with the distribution, how well it goes. Right now it's doing the film festival, but yeah, keep your eyes open if you like zombie flicks.
Nice, I definitely will.
We have another question in the chat.
Sure.
Let me bring it. Where are we? Okay, I lost it. Okay, here we go. How long do you stay at night while investigating a place? What do you think of dead time? Is it being the best time for paranormal activity? So I guess, I don't know about dead time, but how long do you figure stay while an investigation at a certain location?
How long do we stay there, or what time is the best for activity? I don't understand the question.
I know. It's a two-part question. How long do you stay at night while investigating a location? And the second part, what do you think of dead time? Is it being the best time for paranormal activity?
Okay, dead time, I guess that would be around 3 o'clock. I'll answer that one first. It all depends on the situation where you are. Yes, 3 o'clock is supposedly the witching hour, and it coincides a lot more when you're dealing with inhuman activity, because it's supposedly Jesus Christ died at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So a lot of activity when you're dealing with inhumans or demonics, we like to call them, happens around 3 o'clock in the morning, which is like a flight to God and, a whole reversal of the Trinity. And it seems that actually happens a lot, that a lot of the activity that we experience when we're dealing with those kind of paranormal beings happens around 3 o'clock. Ghostly wise, it's a toss up. You can get ghost activity during the day. It doesn't have to be at night. The reason why we filmed at night and we investigate at night, it's a lot easier to see things, like see shadows and stuff like that. That sounds weird because it's dark, but you have to realize that if you turn a flashlight on in the middle of the day, you can't see it. You turn a flashlight on in the middle of the night, it illuminates. That's what kind of like my metaphor I like to use for spirits. It takes a lot less energy for them to show themselves at night in pitch darkness than it does during the day. Now, you can still get activity during the day. Don't get me wrong. We've had many times where some of the activity that we've experienced, even off camera, has happened when it was still light out. But usually when we investigate a place, we go usually until dawn, until light first breaks. We'll be there from like noon on that first day and go all the way to like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning next day. But it all depends too. If it's a place where we're not getting much evidence, or we've gotten a lot of evidence during the wee hours of the morning, like 12, 1, 2 o'clock, and like 3 or 4 o'clock comes around and nothing's happening, we'll pack up and start getting going, because it takes a long time. We can't just pack up and go. We can't just pack up and go. It's not like a regular investigation. It's they have to light the scene for us to leave. They have to light the outside for us to drive off. It takes another hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes to actually leave the place. Like, we'll be all packed up, ready to go, and still have another hour waiting for all the crew to light the area for us to drive off and for us to do the goodbye scene and stuff like that. So it's harder for us, like when we're off camera, obviously. If it's an investigation that we're not filming, just say bye to the person, pack up the stuff, and leave. It's a lot easier. But that's why sometimes if it's dead and it's like coming around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we'll be like, all right, time to pack up. So by the time it reaches dusk, or in dawn, we can leave. So it all depends on the situation too. So, but usually we stay there till about dusk. Dawn. Excuse me.
So what did you hate? What did you hate more, the setting up or the packing up?
Well, the setting up, the packing up. We already have the cameras all set up. We have everything done. All you have to do is break down and go. The setting up's the hard part. You have to get the camera angles perfect where you want them in the areas. You have to figure out where the cameras are going to go. It's just a whole big deal. It could take up to like 3 hours to actually set up all the cameras. And it takes like 20 minutes to break them down, because we already, it's really weird, because a lot of times they'll film like 2 or 3 people sitting above the cameras. But at the end of the night, everybody wants to go home, so then everybody, even if you're not being filmed, like all 5 or 6 of us will break down cameras, because we just want to get going. We're tired. We just want to rock and roll and get out of there. So I think setup's worse than breakdown. In my book, we used to break down really, really quickly. Like, boom, bang, boom, we're done. So.
Now, obviously you've been a paranormal investigator for quite a while. What do you think? What do you think has changed the most since you began doing it, and with all the shows that have come out now? Because let's face it, ghost hunters, whether people liked it or not, or like it or not, period, it brought awareness to the investigation side of the paranormal, something that people didn't have an idea about. Let's just say since that, what do you think's changed the most on a whole here with the paranormal field or community?
Well, obviously, before Ghost Hunter started, there's a lot less paranormal investigators out there. There's a lot less groups out there, which is nice because we've brought the paranormal to the forefront of pop culture. Everybody believes in ghosts now. That were skeptics, that didn't believe. They actually, a lot of people I talk to now didn't believe in ghosts back before the show started and before I started watching Ghost Hunters, and now everybody has a story. I think a lot of the groups out there now that have joined or created their groups because of us have a lot of respect for the field, and there are some that don't. There are some that, I'm not going to get into that, but that's a whole different radio show on how to I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. How to conduct yourself in an investigation. A lot of people just think that they can just go into somebody's place and hunt a ghost. It's a whole different situation like that. That's a good thing. We brought the paranormal into the forefront. The bad side of it is, it seems like in the last few years, there's been a lot of jealousy and a lot of anger and in the paranormal community because of these shows. It seems like everybody that has a group thinks they belong on TV, and I'm talking about the people that are like very jealous and angry. Back before the show started, it was this community was great. It was everybody would share their information. Everybody would be like, "Oh, we just went, excuse me, we just went to this cemetery. Everybody should go check it out. We just got into this building. Everybody should go check it out." Now it seems like since 2004 and everything that's happened since then, all these different shows coming out, that people like to keep their sites for themselves. Like, I've gotten email after email where they're saying that this one group doesn't allow them to go investigate this certain cemetery or this certain building. And that's not the way it should happen. Everything it's a community. Everybody should discuss their activity with everybody else, discuss their evidence with everybody else, and just, going forward for one common goal. And that common goal is to find proof, some kind of scientific data, that paranormal activity exists. And it seems like now it's a whole he said, she said, kind of like you're playing Risk now. You really are. It's like playing the board game Risk. It's everybody wants to control certain areas.
Yep.
That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be like that. It's not gotten any worse lately, but it hasn't gotten any better either, which is a problem. And people have to realize that you're not in this field to control certain areas and try to be the best paranormal group out there. It's a community. You have to always, contribute. And that's what the community is about. You have to contribute to other parts of the community and tell your stories and tell your experiences and show your evidence and your knowledge and help others where their knowledge is lacking. And a lot of groups don't do that anymore. And it's sad. And I was just talking, matter of fact, I was just talking about this a couple of days ago with another paranormal investigator. And it's true. It really is. It's people have gotten very greedy and very angry. And I don't know why. I can't figure it out.
You see a lot of that going around.
Oh, yes.
We're going to take a short break here. If anybody has a question for Brian and like to call after the break, give us a call at 914-803-4095. I guess in the second half, we'll get into what you're up to now or what you're going to get into, your tours and whatnot. And so stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back with Brian Harnois. And that you are listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, and we have Brian Harnois with us tonight. Welcome back, Brian.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, what do you have on tap? What's coming up in the future? I know you got something going on in the Shanley. You've got a few cons going on.
Yeah, actually, I have a lot of things going on. It's been a busy year for me. We got I just came back from Bay State Paranormal Center. I'm actually doing a class next week there on Sunday. Next Sunday at the Bay State Paranormal Center in Taunton, Mass. Doing a how-to paranormal class from the technical side and the case manager side, how to conduct a case and how to talk to the client and stuff like that. It's going to be a very good class for fledgling paranormal investigators and groups that just want to learn more about the technical side and the case manager side and the do's and don'ts of both those things, which, you've probably seen a lot of the do's and don'ts that I've done on camera.
Yeah.
Then I have in March, on the weekend of the 16th of March, I will be in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, working at a place called Monster Mania. It's a horror convention. I know the guy Dave that runs it. He's a very good friend of mine. He invited me over there to. I'm gonna have a table over there to meet and greet people, and I have my T-shirts and my 8x10s and stuff like that I'm going to be selling. Cool thing about that is a lot of cool people are going to be there. I got the whole Friday the 13th reunion. A few of the people that have actually played Jason Voorhees, including the new Friday the 13th, are going to be there. Jason's mother is going to be there. And then a few of the people that he's actually killed in the past, I think it's 11 movies now. It's 10 or 11 movies now, I think. It's 11, 12, something like that. Movies that he's done. Jason Voorhees, he's killed a few people, so they're going to be there.
With you?
Mm-hmm.
You going to have Tom Savini there as well?
Yes, I think Tom Savini is going to be there. I think so. I'm not too sure. I don't remember the total guest lineup. One of the people that I think is kind of cool is from the movie The Crow. The girl that follows around the Crow in the movie, she's going to be there, which is kind of cool because that's a big fan of The Crow. I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's going to be some really, really cool people there, and I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of them. Matter of fact, I think his name is Chris Cornell. He played the miner in Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. It's his first con ever, so I was talking to him on Facebook. He's a little nervous. I was like, nah, don't worry about it. It's just a great place to go and hang out. And I'm doing that, and then the 2 weeks after that, I'm going to ShadowCon, which is we're going to be the Kentucky Shadow Chasers are actually heading that up. We're going to the West Virginia State Penitentiary, Moundsville. We're going to be doing an investigation there on Saturday. Plus, it's a convention the whole weekend, just meet and greets and stuff. I'm going to be there. Robbie Thomas, who just did the last intro there for his Paracon.
Yeah.
Keith and Sandra Johnson's going to be there. It's going to be a whole. Keith Age is going to be there. It's going to be a whole great place to go and hang out. And then the weekend after that, I'm going to one of my favorite places to investigate the Shanley Hotel in New York with Sal and Cindy, the owners. Me and Robbie Thomas are doing a little event there for friends and fans to go over there and investigate with us. I really do recommend it. Whoever's listening to come to Shanley with me, me and Robbie, because this place is literally off the hook for paranormal investigation. These spirits they interact with you more than I've ever seen anything in my life. I did 2 hours of audio on my radio recorder, and I got about 13, 14 EVPs. Like, it's ridiculous. And I'm not talking about, like, little tiny EVPs. I'm talking, like, Class A, talking to you kind of EVPs. It was just amazing. So we're doing that the first weekend of April, which is the 3rd and 4th, I think. And after that, oh, God, I don't even know what I'm doing after that. I've got a Great Lakes Paranormal Con coming up after that. I have one in Monterey, which is NorCal Con. And then I'm going to Paracon in August. I'm doing Monster Mania again. I think it's in June in Hartford, Connecticut, which is kind of cool because they're going to have which is more than kind of cool. They're going to have the Nightmare on Elm Street reunion with Robert Englund and all. I'm going to be there, so I'm actually going to get to meet Robert Englund for the first time, which is going to be really, really cool.
Yeah,
I've always been a fan of his stuff.
Super nice guy. You'll enjoy him. He's a really nice guy.
Good. He was supposed to be at Unicon last year, but he had to cancel for certain filming reasons.
Yeah.
I missed the opportunity to meet him there, but I'm looking forward to it.
Back to the Shanley event there that you're doing with Robbie. Now, it was sold out. Did they release more tickets for that?
Yes, they released a few more tickets. I guess it was a demand for Friday and Saturday. I guess they after they sold out on Saturday, there was some demand to get more tickets out there, and so me and Robbie talked to Sal, and he's like, all right, I can. They can't stay there obviously because it's sold out. All the rooms are booked because you can actually stay there. I know there's rooms for Friday still, so if you want to come, Friday night's still open for a few people to come and stay with us. It's worthwhile. It really is. I don't understand it. I've never seen a place so active in my life. There was about 20 of us there in November when we went, and we all witnessed stuff. I mean, I was doing my lecture, and people that were listening to me and watching me were seeing shadows move around in the hallway behind me. We had a scratching on the door when we were talking. I was talking, and I heard some scratching noises, and I was like, well, did anybody hear that? And people started going over there to investigate it. Matter of fact, Michelle was with my fiance, and she experienced a few things. Heard some humming coming down the hallway. I wasn't up there at the time on the third floor, but Michelle and the guys from Port Paranormal, Jane, Nancy, and Bill and all them, and Dewey were doing an EVP session, and they heard a humming noise, like somebody humming coming down the hallway when there's nobody there. We actually picked it up on the audio. Got this guy, Joe, I think his name's Joe. He's like the alpha male that runs the third floor. Yeah. He's like a very arrogant, very evil man. Ghost now. And he likes messing with the women. And we got an EVP from him. They have a lot of toys up there, like balls and cars, because there's a little kid that's up there that wants to play. So they leave balls and stuff like that so that he can play with them. It's a nice little gesture from Sal and Cindy, which I really appreciate. It's a good thing to do for the child ghost. And we saw, I think it was a volleyball or something in the closet, and me and Bill were talking about it. And all you hear is him mocking us on the EVP. You hear us talking about the volleyball, and all you hear is this other voice that nobody else in there had this kind of voice. We heard volleyball. And I was like, all right, there's Joe. We got him on tape. And it's just a crazy place. I mean, you can catch stuff during the day. If you're walking by yourself during the day, you might hear footsteps come up behind you, and there's nobody there. It's just everybody witnessed something. There's a place up in the, if you go in the back of the hotel, it used to be a brothel up in the second floor in the back of the Shanley. And there's a girl up there named Annie, I think her name was. This was back in the 20s or so, she had a relationship with a man of color, a black man.
Yeah.
And back then, that was a no-no. Back in the 20s, I was like, you don't do that stuff. Mm-hmm. And she had a child with him, and they took the child on her, and they took the child away from her. And she haunts the place up there. She haunts one of the rooms up there, waiting. And the whole story is she's waiting for her child to come back to her. And I'm not a sensitive. I'm not a psychic. I'm technical. I go through the technical aspects. Of course, when you've done so many investigations, and anybody that's been in the paranormal for any length of time, you start getting feelings for certain places, higher energy readings and stuff like that. You can actually feel them sometimes. Well, I walked into the room where Amy's supposed to be, and Cindy actually had given me the tour. And I walked in this room, and I literally, my eyes I started crying. I had goosebumps. I was walking into a wall of just pure energy. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever had in my life. I've never felt like this before in any place I've ever gone to. It was just amazing. It was, you can hear me on the audio recording going, oh my God, this is amazing. It's ridiculous. And it's like, it was just despair and anger and sadness all together put into one. It was the most weirdest feeling I ever had, and it was only in that one room. You go outside the door, and you're fine. And I've never experienced anything like that. And we caught stuff up in the brothel where, in fact, Michelle and I think it was Kelly that was with her, sitting on the bed. And I was in one of the other rooms. There was like 5 or 6 of us up there. And there's 4 different rooms. And we're all in different rooms. Like, I think Michelle and Kelly were in one room, I was in another room, and the other 2 people were in the other 2 rooms. So we can the reason why I do that a lot, it's a small area with a lot of rooms in that area, and all the doors are open, so you can't get in trouble if you close the door and something might happen to you.
Yeah.
So all the doors were open, everything was all set, so we could all see each other. Michelle and Kelly started seeing something in the corner of their room, and like a shadow standing there. And they asked me to come out there to witness it, to see what it was, and it was somebody. I don't know what it was. It was a small man or woman. I don't know what it was, but it was a small statued person. It was just standing there. And the shadow was off the wall. And it just stood there for the longest amount of time, and then it was gone. And it was just, I don't know, it was just amazing. That I can't give enough praise to that place. And if you want to go to a place this year, even if it's not with us, even if you don't want to go up there, and I think it's $100 per night or $175 per both nights for both investigations. That's not including room, but you do get an hour lecture apiece. Me and Robbie both nights. If you just want to go up there by yourself, I recommend it. Do it, because this place is crazy. I've never praised a place like this before so much. Even just going up there to hang out with Sal and Cindy, they're very, very great people. They're very, very down to earth, wonderful people to hang out with. But if you're up there to ghost hunt, you're going to catch something. I'm not saying that just to get you to go. You bring some equipment, you're going to catch something. You're going to catch an EVP or a picture. Something's going to come up to say hi to you. And I didn't believe that at first. When I first went up there, I was like, yeah, right. That's what they all say. Seriously, you're going to catch something. Everybody that was up there with us caught EVPs or a picture or something. Everybody went away with an experience from there. It's an amazing place. It really is. And if you want to, my MySpace is myspace.com/DarthWheezy, all one word, DarthWheezy. If you want to go see what it's all about, I have the banner up on my MySpace of all the things I'm doing. Or you can go to ShanleyHotel.com and check out their website. It's just it's an amazing place, and I can't say enough about it. I really can't.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat room too, so everyone can check it out. Yeah, we're going to be there the weekend after you guys are there. You and Tommy are there.
Very nice.
You and Robbie. You and Tommy.
Yeah.
You and Robbie. Yeah.
So you're going to Shanley the week after?
Yeah, we're going to be there the week after, nice. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. We did have Sal in the chat room, and he was going to call in, but his phone conked out on him. So. But
yeah.
don't be surprised.
He's still in the chat room. Hi, Sal.
Yeah, but don't be surprised if we hear from him.
Good. I hope we do, because Sal's a wonderful person.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He was the whole weekend, and he was. I don't know how he sleeps. I don't even know if he sleeps. I really don't. I don't think Sal and Cindy sleep. They were up with us the whole night, and I'd heard that he was up before the first person got up the next day, which was like 3 or 4 hours later. I'm like, I really don't know how they sleep, but I really don't know how they would sleep in a place like that anyways, because nothing really happened. We were in the pink room. Me and Michelle were in this place they call the pink room, because it's obviously all pink and flowery and stuff. It's really all the hotel rooms are amazing. Very, very, really, really awesome. If you want a place to go back in time, literally go back in time, this is the place to go, because it's it seems like you're walking into the past when you walk through the doors of the Shanley, and it's really cool. Yeah, Sal's a great guy. He's amazing, and I hope he does call in. That'd be great, because I'm only welcome. I talked to him today, matter of fact, so it'd be great to hear from him again.
Yeah, we were going to go there last year. Actually, I think it was October. We were going to go down there because we were originally going to go to Salem, Massachusetts.
Ah, yes, yes.
But we got sidetracked, and so we decided to go to the Shanley. But that got sidetracked. But this year, yeah. So we're going there the week after, or the weekend after you, anyways.
Nice. You'll enjoy it. This place is. The ghosts just want to come out and mess with you. It's wonderful when they do that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I've heard nothing but good things about the Shanley, and of course Sal. I know Sal's a super nice guy, so
yeah.
I certainly look. Now, you're going to be at Paracon this year in August. Is this the first time you've been to Canada?
Well, not the first time. See, I was stationed in Minot, North Dakota, when I was in the Air Force back in the 90s. So we used to go up there. It was literally a 15-minute drive to go to Canada. And back then, you didn't need passports or anything. You just go through Border Patrol. They ask you what you're doing. You're going up there to hang out and party. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. And, I was 18 years old, so, I was all giddy because you can drink when you're 18 up there and stuff. And, I've been up there a couple times then, but I haven't been up since. And this is my first time actually going to a ghost conference up in Canada. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Me and Robbie are good friends. He was just here a couple weeks ago. Matter of fact, visiting. He wanted to come down and hang out. So I was like, come on. We can come down. We can crash on the couch and have a couple of days just to hang out and chill. So we did. And, we've become good friends over the last 6 months or so since I've met him at Mid-South. And I'm looking forward to going up there and hanging out with him and Keith Age and Patrick Burns and all them. It's gonna be a fun time. Really looking forward to it. You gonna be there?
Well, I'm going to be sharing the stage with you, man.
There you go. Very much. Good. I'm glad. So you'll be there too. Get to actually meet and hang out.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to that. We have a caller. Are you ready for a call?
Cool. Yeah, go ahead. Hang out. Sure.
Hold on. Hello, 519. You're live on Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Good. Who's this?
It's Chris.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
What's going on?
Not much. How about yourself?
Not too much. How's it going, Brian?
I'm doing pretty good, man. What's going on?
Excellent. Not too much. I just wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
I just wanted to know, what would your number one paranormal experience be? What's something that stands out from any other experience you've ever had?
Well, my first experience, obviously, the full-body apparition I saw when I was 11 will always stand out in my mind, considering I was 11 years old. So, back then, that's, it's kind of weird to see a ghost go walking through the room. I'd have to... What was that? Hello?
Brian, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What was that?
I don't know what that was. Something got bumped. Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Okay, there you go. Okay, good. I thought I lost everybody. Yeah, I had to maybe say St. Augustine Lighthouse for what we saw up in the lighthouse itself, the apparition we saw there. My first, I have so many of them. My first Inhuman case it was actually my first real case a second case with taps. But the first case didn't really count because the lady was just a crazy person. She had no ghosts. The only ghost she had was in her head. So my first real case of paranormal activity was an Inhuman case up in Skowhegan, Maine. That was a scary thing. I had to deal with an Inhuman, didn't know how to deal with an Inhuman, never had before in my life, and witnessed the awesome power of these things. It was amazing. But if I had to pick one, oh God, I'd have to say St. Augustine Lighthouse, really. Just seeing the full-body apparition and actually having this thing interact with us to the point where we were talking. We'd say hello, and it would say hello back. And then we'd ask if we could help it, the lady, how we could help her, and you just hear a mumbling noise, like she was trying to talk to us, but she couldn't form the words, and it was just amazing. I mean, that was one of the best paranormal experiences I've ever had, and if I had to pick one, I think that would be it right there.
By the way, Brian, this is Chris, who's a part of, one of my main investigators of my paranormal group, Southern Ontario Paranormal.
Oh, okay, well, very nice. Hey, how you doing, man?
No, not too bad. That was a good answer. I have to agree with you with that. That was probably my favorite episode of Ghost Hunters when you guys saw it. I couldn't believe that. I thought that was just the coolest thing I've ever seen in any paranormal show.
Yeah, it blew my mind. We weren't even supposed to go there. That was a last-minute stand-in investigation. We were down in St. Augustine. We had done the Spanish military hospital, which you guys never saw. It never aired. Reason why it never aired is, first off, we didn't get anything evidence-wise, and the second off, they basically, didn't really lie to us, but that's not even where the Spanish military hospital was. There was just a recreation of it. It was never even in the city limits in the first place. So it was like basically we were just hunting on ground that would just be like a house or something. So we never aired that one because we never really caught anything that wasn't really the real Spanish military hospital. We did the Old County Jail, where they actually explained my Wheezy nickname. Steve, we caught a couple good things there. We were supposed to go do the Wrigley Believe It or Not Museum in St. Augustine, and things got messed up production-wise with them and Pilgrim Films, so we had to scratch that one, and we were just walking around trying to figure out what to do, and we just saw this big lighthouse sitting there, and we're like, yeah, why not, right? Let's go check it out. And what happens? Probably the best show we ever did. So, can't complain.
I'd have to agree with that. Yeah, right on. Excellent. I just want to ask you one more question before I go. I just want to know what you think of paranormal bullying in the paranormal community.
Yeah, actually, I think I was talking about that earlier. The whole paranormal bullying thing, the whole drama aspect. Obviously, have had my fair share of drama in the paranormal, and most of it was on TV, for God's sake. But the paranormal bullying, I don't like. I don't like the fact that people, that certain groups, and I'm not saying certain groups like on TV right now. I'm talking about like certain groups as a metaphor, where they think they've been in the field for a certain amount of time, and they think that they're better than another group. I don't know how many times that I've gotten emails on theories and stuff like that from small paranormal groups that have not been in the field for more than a year and a half, 2 years, that I've tried out and they've worked. And these other groups that have been in the field for 8, 9, 10 years, they're not contributing to the community because they think that they know everything. And you don't. Nobody's ever going to know everything. We might 100 years from now, but we're still in our infancy. This paranormal field has only been around a couple 100 years. The way it is now, literally the way it is now, you have to date yourself back to the 1940s and 50s when Hans Holzer. He's the one that started this whole paranormal investigating thing the way it is now. Oh, for sure, yeah. So it's like we've only been around for 60, almost 70 years now. So you can't sit there and say, well, I know everything I need to know, and these are my areas, and this is my cemetery, and you can't go here. Because I get email after email about people saying that they try to go to a certain cemetery or a certain area to investigate, and they have this other paranormal group bashing them and literally like wanting to like beat them up or something. Yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I'm like, first off, if everybody ever did that to me and like this is my cemetery, I'd be like, wow, you're really rich. You own a cemetery? That's awesome. It's like, obviously it's not your cemetery. So it's like you can't tell me where to go. You're doing this. You're breaking the same laws that I'm breaking, walking into the cemetery at night, which is a no-no anywhere you go in the United States. So I'm like, I don't care what you think. I'm like, you're going into the cemetery at night. You don't have a permit, and I'm doing the same thing. So you're breaking the law as much as I am. And it's like you can't tell me I can't go to I can't go to this certain house in a certain state because that's their area. Where it's like the problem is we're turning into gangs. Paranormal community is turning into like a big. It's supposed to be a community, and we're turning into like Compton. In California, it's a bunch of gangs that have a territory, and we can't do that. Yeah. Back before the show started, I was like, that's the reason why I got into the community was because everybody would share information. I mean, before the show started in 2004, I literally, for the first 5 years of my paranormal teen life, as I've been doing it before that, I would get information from all different teams, all different groups all across the world. And it was great because you would share, because There's a place up near Worcester, Mass called Spider Gate Cemetery. And it's almost impossible to find because you have to go through a field and it has a bull in it. And if the bull's not happy, then certain days you ain't getting through the field. And it's really, really impossible to find. And now you can't find it anymore because the people that know where the locations are, like I couldn't get there. If you ask me how to get there again, don't ask me. I have no clue. I got lost getting there in the first place. We found it by accident. And but the people that have that information don't give it out anymore because of all this paranormal bullying. And back then it was like every single, you type in Spider Gate Cemetery, and you'd have 15 groups saying, oh yeah, this is how you get there. You have to look for the pole with the red ribbon on it or the yellow ribbon on it, and you have to go down this path and jump a fence and watch out for the bull. And you can't, they don't do that anymore. And that's the problem. It's like every single little thing in the paranormal community now is all secret and secretive. And that's not the way Hans Holzer started this whole thing up. It's not the way the Ghost Club back in 1863 started this up. Something's got to change. It really does. Something has to really change really quickly, or this field is just going to crash and burn on itself.
You know,
I see it happening.
Going back to what you were saying about the location hogging and all that kind of stuff, we actually had an incident a couple years ago. One of my I guess protocols, if you will, or with the group anyhow, when it comes to a location that we might have the inside scoop with the location as to where it is. Let's face it, you constantly get emails and whatever asking, people asking you, well, can you give me directions to this place? And the one thing that I do is say, you know what, if you'd like me to take you up there, I'll take you up there. I don't have a problem with that.
Yes.
But
yes.
since I don't know who you are, I don't think I want to give you the location in fear of you going and vandalizing or destroying the property or whatnot.
Exactly.
And we actually had repercussions because of me doing that. Because I got that title saying that I was like hogging that particular location.
No, see, no, you're doing the right thing as to where you can get some. You know, everybody's on the internet now. I mean, you can get some punk kid.
Yeah.
Finding out about the situation, this location, and knowing you have the location, and going up there and desecrating the place. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from that.
Yeah.
The only time I ever give out information to a certain location or a certain area or a secret, not like a secret location, but like a hard to find location. Because I'm in Rhode Island, and in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, there are locations that are out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of woods, and it takes you like 25 minutes to hike up a certain mountain, like a certain hill. You have to go through a grassy plain, and there's a thing called the Witch's Grave, which I've never been to. A few of my colleagues have been.
Is this
inside
the Bridgewater Triangle?
Yes, I think it is inside the Bridgewater Triangle because I went to Antelope Rock there. I went to the Hockomock Trail in the Bridgewater Triangle, and of course also the house in Rehoboth.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different story. Oh my God, I got sick when I went to that house. It was ridiculous. It's like this house, and when you pull off of 195 exit 4 in Mass, it's not there anymore. It's been destroyed. But it's a house that was curved, and it was part of the Bridgewater Triangle. But anyway, they call it Witch's Grave. And it's a grave in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the woods, and you have to walk in. When you find it, it's a big grassy plain where all the grass around the cemetery, the stone, it's not even a cemetery stone, it's like this rock with some stuff inscribed in it. And all the grass around it's been dead. It's dead. It never grows. It's just like dry grass. And a lot of people. There's a few people I know that have that information, and it's very hard to get to. And it's like you said, like Spider Gate Cemetery. I understand where you're coming from that. Like if a group called me and said, "Look, we're so and so from Mass. We're looking for the Spider Gate Cemetery." Yeah, I would do my research before I gave them any information. I would. Because I have to look it up and go, okay, these guys are real. This is the person I talked to.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. And yes, he has the information. And some guy calls me up and says, "Hey, look, I'm looking for a certain cemetery, like Nellie Vaughan Cemetery or Mercy Brown Cemetery, and I don't know who they are." No, I'm not going to give them that information because that's all I need is for them to go up there and start doing some occult activity or something. You know, like some kind of satanic worshippers that I give the information to, and it comes back on me.
Yeah, you never know.
Like, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm like, oh, great, thanks. I'm like, I appreciate that. Thanks a lot for screwing up my life even worse. Thank you. You know, so that's the whole thing. That's where that's not paranormal bullying. That's actually being cautious and being being protective of a site to where you don't want the site being vandalized.
Absolutely.
No, I've seen way too many news stories of tipped over cemetery stones and graffiti, and
oh yeah,
it's uncalled for. It really is uncalled for.
To continue on with that too, this particular group or person, individual, did get a hold of the directions on how to get there through his own investigating whatnot research, and what he did was he posted a Google map on how to get to this particular location, and showed everybody the directions to go there, and even told people to park inside the fencing that basically, you know, inside we're talking about private property.
Mm-hmm.
And not sooner after he posted all this information, all that, we had gone up there just to check on things because I had a really bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
And we went up there, and when we got there, the place had been desecrated. You had tombstone, or one particular monument had been knocked over, used as seating. We candles all over the place as if they were doing some sort of ceremony. I don't know, but you know, and I got back to this person and I said, look, man, you got to take down this stuff. You know, it's good that you found the place. You know, great, but be responsible here.
Exactly.
You know, do the right thing. Take this stuff down. Because
you got to look at it like this too. We're all breaking the law. You're not supposed to be in the cemetery at night. You're not. The cops can come in there and it's private property. None of those cemeteries are owned by the state or owned by, you know, if they're owned by a certain person. If you don't know that person, it's private property. You're breaking the law. Like most parks, even in city parks, public parks, you can't walk in during the night if they close them down. So it's like you're not breaking a major law. It's not like they're going to throw you in jail, but they will ask you to leave if they see you inside a place like that. Now, cops can be very lenient. I mean, I don't think I've only been thrown out of one cemetery ever in my life, and that was during the day. Me and Keith Johnson were in a cemetery in East Branch, and we were asked to leave. But you know, it can be very lenient though. Like they're basically, they know you're in there and you're not desecrating the place. They'll leave you alone. They really don't care. You know what I mean? They just don't want somebody partying in there and doing God knows what to God knows what in that place. You know? So that's the whole thing. You got to know your boundaries too. You can't just find a place like you said and post about it. You can't do it.
No, absolutely.
You can't sit there like you can put directions to where, like Spudgate Cemetery. You got to find the post with the yellow ribbon and hop the fence where the bull is. Stuff like that. That's fine because most of the time you're not even going to find the place. You know what I mean? But when you put a Google map where you can like GPS, you know, your phone right into the map and be like, here it is. You know, that's just you got to know your role. You really do. You got to know how you know you got to know when to do things and not do things. And that's just wrong. You know, I can understand if he posted pictures and he went there and stuff like that, and then somebody emails him and say, hey, you know, where can I go to find that place? You know, I'm a paranormal investigator, yada yada yada. But that's just, you shouldn't do that. That you just have trouble when you do something like that.
You know, since we're on the subject of cemetery, what do you think about them, the validity of them having paranormal activity? Because, you know, you have sitting on both sides of the fence here. You know, they don't. Why would they? Because that's not where the particular people passed away. It'd be in the area where they passed away or whatnot.
Well, see, there's different theories, like you said. I have a cemetery I used to go to a lot. I haven't gone there in a long time. As a matter of fact, I've been wanting to take Michelle up there. My fiance. Me and Keith used to go to this place all the time. I used to go to this place all the time before ghost hunters, before taps. A place called Precious Blood Cemetery. I'm not going to say where it is, and it's because I'm on a radio show. You know what I mean? It could get back. But there's just down the whole direction. So yeah, it's in, you know, I'm like, yeah, it's over here in a certain corner of the city. But extremely active. What happened was this place is beautiful too. I like going to cemetery sometimes just to see the monuments. Sometimes it's just gorgeous to actually go to these places and see some of the statues that people have actually spent thousands and thousands of dollars on for their deceased loved ones. This place has this huge, like, Roman pillar, like mausoleum, right in the middle of the cemetery, and it was one of the first mayors of the city. And he wanted this big. What happened was there was 4 different cemeteries at one point, and when he put this big mausoleum in the middle of the cemetery, it connected all 4 cemeteries. And it's kind of cool because, you know, you can see the 4 different parts, like how old they are. Like the one in the back, in the right-hand side, is the oldest. That's where there's actually demonic. There's actually a demon that lives there, I guess. He was there every single time I was there. I don't know if he's still there or not. But me and Keith actually have EVP. Well, Keith got it. When we were investigating it, we got an EVP of the demonic. There's actually a lot of priests and bishops and monsignors and cardinals that are actually there from the Roman Catholic Church. In one certain spot, there's actually a saint. I forget her name now. I always forget her name. Keith knows it. But she's not a saint yet, but she is going to be. Her body is actually at the Vatican now. She's being canonized as a saint, which is kind of cool because she's from that certain city. If I almost slipped. But cemeteries themselves, I do believe, are active. We have one right here in Warwick that I've gone to many, many times, and Michelle has been working, and we used to go to investigations there for TAPS before the TV show started. It was my training ground, because I used to be the trainer. It was my training ground. Literally, there's a certain ghost that's there that comes out almost on command. We had a problem with an inhuman that was there once. You also have to deal with certain things like, can spirits stay with their body? Yes, of course they do. There's certain spirits that don't want to leave their body because they have unfinished business, and they figure if they stay with the body, then their loved ones will come and see the body, and they can get their message out. And you also have to deal with the occult side, which we did in a certain cemetery. A lot of times, a person that really deals with the occult, like really delve into the occult, will actually call upon a watcher to watch them while they're doing this, and that watcher will make sure that even if they screw up, they won't, become dinner for some kind of inhuman beast, Yeah. And a lot of times, what I've heard, I saw a watcher a few years ago in the cemetery. They'll stay with the body because that was their watcher. That was their person that they watched, so they'll still be there. I know some theories saying, why would a ghost stay with the body? But I don't care what cemetery you go to, there's always a story of a ghost being haunting that cemetery. And I've gone to lots of cemeteries and found nothing.
Yeah.
But I've gone to lots of cemeteries and found a lot of different evidence. And I believe that ghosts do stay with their bodies sometime, and they just like hanging out in cemeteries. I really don't know. Maybe they figure there'll be other ghosts here to chat with. I don't know. We probably never will know why they do it, but they do. So a lot of people don't like going to cemeteries, but to investigate. But if the weather's nice, like, why not? Why can't you go there and get a couple of good EVP sessions and
that's cool.
Right on. For me.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me ask you some questions there, Brian.
No problem.
But you have a good night too, Steve.
Yeah, take care, Chris. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, see you guys later.
Take care, man.
Now, is there somebody that you haven't had the chance to investigate with that you'd like to investigate with? Like, obviously, you've been with quite a few people out there, on investigations. Is there somebody that you haven't had a chance to work with that you'd like to?
Yeah, well, obviously Hans Holzer, but he is getting up there in age now, and he just had a birthday a month ago. He's like 89 years old now.
Yeah.
So I think his ghost hunting days are done. He's done enough. I can tell you that much right now. He's been everywhere and written 140 different books. So I think he's paid his dues.
Yeah.
But I'd love to work with him. His daughter Alexandra. She's obviously, if you can't work with the master, might as well work with the prodigy. Obviously,
exactly.
Because who better to learn from than the original ghost hunter? She's his daughter, so she must. I've heard she's a hell of an investigator. I'd love to work with her. Even the group that she's in, the Nocturnal group she's in with Brooke and Carly Rose and stuff. I'd like to work with them. Lorraine Warren, I'd love to work with Lorraine. I never got a chance to do that. Matter of fact, I've never met her until UNIFCON last year. It was the first time I ever met her, and I was like a kid in a candy store. Like, I was so nervous to meet her, it was ridiculous. I was like, Keith knows her. Keith Johnson knows her, so he introduced me. And it's really great because Keith, that's in more aspects than one, that was his mentor. Her and Ed were Keith and Carl's mentors. So it was like really weird. Like, it was like the apprentice bringing his apprentice to see. Like Keith was bringing me, which is he was my mentor, and she was his mentor. So it was like a whole generation thing. Which was really cool. I was very nervous to meet her, and I was very happy to. I've gotten to work with people like John Zaffis. I've worked with him. I just saw him yesterday at the Bay State thing. I'm trying to think here. I wish I could have met Ed Warren. I never got to meet Ed before he passed away, unfortunately. I would have loved to pick his brain. He must have some. He's had some really screwed up cases. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah, if somebody had some screwed up cases, they certainly have. That's for sure. Jeez.
Oh yeah. Well, they were the ones dealing with the original Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
They went face to face with the demon, and I never got to talk to Lorraine about it because I had met her before she had to do her lecture, and then she was leaving like right after. So I never got to really talk to her about it. I don't know. There's so many people that so many people I've become friends with in the paranormal that I'd like to work with. It's just I've never worked with Robbie. I don't know how he, Robbie Thomas. I don't know how he investigates. Another person, Keith Age. I'd love to work with him. We've become really, really good friends just from the fact that we're in the paranormal together. And we've hung out, and I went to Mid-South, and I've hung out with him and stuff, but I've never worked with him. I've never actually gotten to hunt with him. I'd love to do that. There's so many people out there that I've never gotten to hunt with, and hopefully one day I will. But as of right now, no. And I guess that's like Hans Holzer, Lorraine Warren, Alexandra, Keith Age, Robbie Mullen. I think sooner or later I'll go through the list, but as of yet, no. But those are the ones I want to.
One interesting thing about the Amityville Horror, obviously there's a lot of controversy around it, but there's one thing that, it doesn't matter to me. I keep looking at the picture, and it just freaks me out. And I'm sure you're familiar with what picture.
With the boy with the eyes?
Yeah, the little kid at the top of the stairs.
That's the picture that Ed took.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely freaky.
Yeah, I think back then there was no Photoshop.
No.
There was no, obviously there were ways of faking photographs and stuff, but there was no Photoshop. There was no digital photography. I've talked to people that have actually seen the negative, and it was on the negative. So whatever was there was there. They actually, Ed and Lorraine said that was actually it. That was the demon. They've I don't blame them because a lot of demons, a lot of the inhuman population will come to people as a child. so that they don't seem scary, and they can actually get in good with you and try to possess you and stuff. But I mean, I've seen the picture, and it's amazing. I mean, if I could get a picture like that, I'd be, get like the Pulitzer Prize or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. It's like a picture like that is like worth 1,000 words. It really is. But I don't know. I mean, I've seen it, and I believe it's real. I really do. It's scary as oil.
When I saw that picture, it reminded me of that one scene from Children of the Corn. Have you seen Children of the Corn?
Oh, of course.
You know the one scene where the one child, just lying on the road and just gets up all.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminds me of. That type of nightmarish imagery.
Exactly.
It's just freaky.
Exactly. Well, we actually. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just
go ahead.
No, go
ahead.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't interrupting anything.
No.
I don't know if I had another call or something. I don't know. We had a case. In fact, it was Kristen Gartland from TAPS. She was a client before she was a member of the group, and we actually went up there to her house or her apartment that she lived in, and it seemed like a normal case when we first got the call, the email. I forgot how she sent it in, but I was the case manager back then, and I took the case, and she started talking about her son having an imaginary friend and all these little things that were going on in the apartment. The walls would shake, and she'd see a black shadow run around, and she was really being freaked out about it. And, I didn't think anything about it. I think, whatever. It could be just some kind of ghost running around the house, whatever. So I kept talking to her, and I found out that the apartment building she lived in was actually is actually on top of the old cemetery. And what happened was the cemetery is now across the street. And what they did was they took all the gravestones and moved them, but they never moved the bodies because back in the 1800s, the early 1900s and 1800s, they were wooden coffins, and they would just decompose, and you can't move bits and pieces of bone. You know what I mean? So it was also possible. So they just moved all the cemetery stones over. So we're talking, and we're emailing each other back and forth. And I got on the phone one day, and it was on Thursday, and she said, "Yeah, my son divulged a lot more information about this person." And she told me that, she said to me, "What, he's blind." I'm like, "What do you mean he's blind?" And she goes, "Yeah, he has no eyes. My son says he has no eyes." And that just threw off all kinds of bells, whistles, horns, sirens. The main characteristic of an inhuman posing as a human has to have a body part missing. It's one of the molars or whatever they have. And the one that they usually is missing is the eyes, because it's a lot easier to hide, the eyes being missing than like an arm or a leg or something. And we went up there, and it was posing as a child because it wanted to possess her son. And that's why I like the whole story about the amiable horror and the child with the glowing eyes. That's what they do. They possess children sometimes to interact with other children and to get into their lives and break down their barriers and become friends with them and eventually possess them. And I can tell you that was a fun case. It really was. We saw a lot of things that night. It was craziness.
As much as, whatever activity went down, in the whole Amityville horror scenario, I think what gives me the chills the most was what happened beforehand and with the DeFeo family.
Oh, yes, with the killings.
Yeah, that's just absolutely freaky stuff.
Oh, of course. Was he possessed? I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, that's originally what he said, right? He was possessed, and of course he recanted and took that back and said something else, but...
Yeah, he recanted because I think he got scared.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he got scared of what was inside of him. Because you got to look at all these mental warts and stuff. Would they have a lot of characteristics of being possessed is also characteristics of being schizophrenic.
Yep.
And how many people are in these mental institutions that are schizophrenic, that are not? They're possessed.
Yeah.
And most doctors don't believe that a doctor that has a doctorate of medicine and psychiatry is not going to believe that. not going to believe in possession. They look at the facts and they look at the medical reasons of what's wrong with them, and they go as.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying they go as.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that they go on their medical books and they say it's schizophrenia, when I think a bunch of them that are in those wards are possessed by something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, although they are making strides with the psychiatry point of view.
Oh, they are. Yes, they are.
And accepting more and more that there is a possibility that a person does believe that they are possessed by something demonic or whatnot. And of course, more studies are being done. And you know what? It's another thing that we just don't know enough about to completely disclose and say, look, no, this person's not possessed. Come on. As much as crazy as it may seem and sound, you have to take into consideration everything and anything.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. You have to, this field has moved forward so much now that there are a lot of psychologists actually delving into the para part of their, parapsychology, and delving into that aspect of it to make sure that they're not misdiagnosing a patient, and that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot. I like how they're going from all the strict medical books and the guidelines that they use, and they're bending them to actually delve into the power part of it, and that makes me feel good to know that people are starting to believe and saying, wait a minute, this could be a problem. This could be a problem, a certain problem with a certain person. They might not be schizophrenic. They might not be hearing voices in their head. They're hearing ghosts. They're hearing other voices. Like a lot of times, like a psychic. If they don't know they're psychic, they can go crazy because they're hearing other things and seeing images that are not theirs.
Yeah.
They think they're going nuts, and I'm glad that's actually happening now. I'm glad there's actually a movement to. With psychiatrists, that they're actually delving into the parapsychology. It's good to know that now, that they're actually getting into that part of it.
We got a minute left. Any last things you want to get? Any links? Any anything you want to get out? Tour information before we.
No, well, I just said my MySpace is myspace.com/DrWeezy. I don't know my Facebook link. But it's on my. For some reason, they allow Facebook links on MySpace. I can't figure that one out. But my Facebook link's up there. I don't know it. Then all my stuff that I'm doing, my calendar's up on my MySpace. All my stuff I'm doing, lectures and tours and all that stuff. But no, I just want to say thank you for having me on, and it was a great radio show and a great conversation, and I really do appreciate it.
Well, it was great having you on, and you know what? I'll definitely get you the information for that recorder as well.
Yes, please. Yes, email me that information. I like to look into that. I think that'd be a great little piece of equipment to use.
Oh, I love it. I swear by it. It's good that 4 different channels.
I like that.
Wow, so that's pretty cool.
I like that. Just send me over that information. I really do appreciate it.
I certainly will. It's been a great honor to have you, Brian, and you're always welcome to come back.
Well, I appreciate it. Just send me an email, and then I'll be seeing you in a few months.
Yeah, we'll see you in August.
All right, sounds good, brother. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care, Brian.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Once again, that was Brian Harnois from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International. I want to thank him for stopping by and chatting with us tonight. Tomorrow night, we have a primetime special. Nocturnal Frequency is going prime time. Yeah, we're 7:30 Eastern Standard Time till 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we will have the Shadows Project with us to discuss their upcoming stuff. A group of remote viewers by trade, sensitives. They've investigated a lot of interesting locations that we will talk about further tomorrow night. And next Sunday night, the usual time, we'll have Bishop James Long on the show to talk about demonology and exorcisms and whatnot. So catch that as well. Until then, thank you for tuning in. Leave your comments on the show page and and iTunes. It's amazing the amount of exposure that we're getting on iTunes. So leave your comments there as well. And thanks for the support. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Take care, everybody, and good night.